Hello there. There's a couple things I want to talk about. First of all, yeah, I'm reading these because I want to get it right. Trump said he knew Putin wanted to invade Ukraine 2 years ago, and he told no one. He allowed his friend Putin to invade one of our allies. He betrayed the allies and our country. That's the first issue. He says a lot of things that aren't true. But if this is true, and he did it in a braggadocious way, he was bragging about his buddy, how much of a friend he is. Putin thinks he's a friend. He thinks that's a flex because he admires Putin, so he assumes a lot of people admire Putin. And, I'm his good friend, so that makes me powerful too. Maybe is what's going through his head. But he was doing it in that braggy kind of way. It's like, oh, he told me he was going to do that. He mentioned he wanted to, take back Ukraine land 2 years ago. And he didn't bother telling anybody. So he knew before Putin did it that he was going to do it, but didn't bother saying anything because he was helping his nudge nudge wink wink good buddy Putin. That's egregious. That is unspeakably traitorous. Say what? Say what? Oh, I don't know. I don't know about you, but we have found it, and most of the time it has been since the era of Trump. What is with spilling the beans? Not when it's needed, but when your book is coming out. Do you know how many things have been spilled, displayed, discovered in books written by right-wing people? But left do it too. And that pisses me off to no end. Because some of these things would have made a big difference in a court case. Some of these things would have made a big difference in how certain things were portrayed or seen, and thus when things were going on in the Trump administration and we were trying to impeach him, if some of those people would have spoken up with their little secretly hidden gems that they knew, of knowledge that they knew could have been explosive against Trump, proving right there immediately when it was being talked about what he was saying, when other people weren't hearing it, when public wasn't hearing it, when the cameras weren't rolling. If they had told, but they hide those because then they can use it as a little trailer type of thing to get more people to buy their book. But their book isn't ready yet, isn't finished when they find out this stuff, so they don't want to spill the beans, and then everybody knows about it, so no point in finding it out and buying the book. Yeah, I get the purpose of that is to make more money. And it's not like I'm just like, oh, people are always... I get that. I do get that. But when it comes to stuff that's affects not just you, being quiet about something, it depends. Because if it's about like that's something that's going to affect a country or other countries or a whole group of people or something like that, allergies, it might behoove you, it might be beneficial financially to you, but the damage of people not knowing that information when they needed to know it is so huge and expansive. How could your conscience not be larger than your greed or your need of money? I live on a very low income. I don't have money to do a lot of things. And I don't mean things just for me, things that I'd like to do for others. I don't have the money to do that, to help. I don't have the money to do and help for myself sometimes. I didn't mean to cry. So if anybody should be the one who's holding out knowledge so you get money, it would be somebody like me. But those are not the people. The people that do it already have money. It's not like they're struggling like me. It's not like they have to look at prices of every single thing they buy. A lot of those people, they want something, they look, oh, okay, and they buy it. I can't do that. I have to look at price tags on everything from food to cat supplies to clothing, everything. Art supplies, everything. I have to look at the price of. And so many people don't. They go in and they shop like I shop at the dollar store. You know, and to be holding, and those are the people that are holding back this vital national security information just so they can make a big splash and with the book when it comes out, when it's ready. And I don't understand how they don't understand that that's perfectly acceptable. I'm telling them eventually. Oh, is that big enough? I got it at the Dollar Tree yesterday. My other one needed a break. And this is, it holds about the same, but this is thinner. So it's easier to get your hand around solidly. I know. You're going, what? She's talking about this very intense subject. And then I throw this at you. Sorry. Okay. So the fact that he didn't even say anything, 2 years this has been going on. What a bastard. Oh, the immunity thing. First of all, SCOTUS, you suck, you're corrupted. I've told you that before this decision. And the immunity, it's not full, it's partial. But number one, that decision shouldn't be retroactive because that wasn't questioned then. Okay, that wasn't a question. It was, protocol has always shown what you do in the president time is one thing. What you do in your own time, even if you are the president at that time, if it's in your own deal, your own personal life, as opposed to acting as the president. I mean, you're not, when you're pissing, you're not pissing as a president. You're pissing as a person in your personal life, not in the presidential life. You know what I know that was a weird analogy. What is with my brain? But, so number one, did they say it was retroactive? They didn't specify that this is retroactive. Don't they need to do that for it legally to be retroactive? I don't know. The other thing, that means that currently the president, who is Joe Biden, is also immune to anything. So he can just put out a executive order that anybody that has been already proven to have been part of January 6th, not just January 6th, but leading up to it, which means Ginny Thomas arranging the buses, the tours, people I call the screw crew, Gates, Bober, Green, leading tours and places and times that were not legit. All the bullshit, all those people, every single person, Graham, little lady Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, every single person, including SCOTUS, if they made any judgments for the insurrectionists, anybody that's comforted, aided them after they've been being held or sentenced, all of them, if he is immune to any kind of retribution, then as the president, they have been proven to have done these things. And why can't he just say this whole list, these people need to be arrested and tried and sentenced because they all tried to stop American democracy from happening? Isn't that kind of like, isn't that kind of like what they just said Trump can do if he gets back in power? And I'm really questioning, because I know legal things have to be very precise, very, I mean, explicitly languaged. And I didn't see anything that I read or heard, watched, that said anything about it being a retroactive decision. So how can it help Trump in any of his cases if it wasn't a retroactively stated? I didn't see any of that in the statements from any of the justices, that it was retroactive. So that's something I really wish somebody would explain, because that will protect him if he became president again. But I'll have to research further, but I didn't see anything that says this is a retroactive decision. So, you know, and that any past president that is has been or is currently under judicial watch or trial, whatever, is also, this is retroactively applied to them as well. I didn't see anything like that. So how can it be applied to him if it wasn't made, if that decision wasn't made until 4 years after he was president? So I don't get that either, 3.5 years later. So anyway, and I do want to reiterate for anybody who didn't see the other video, you know, Samuel Alito from SCOTUS says, well, I can't make my wife stop flying, you know, flags that support the insurrectionists. But he can make every other woman in America have forced births and allow your rapist to father your child if he gets you pregnant, or allow somebody who incests or rape a woman, a girl, you can make them not have abortions, make them carry children, all this shit. You can force all these women, and you can tell them that, but you can't tell your wife to stop flying flags that you're, by your job, are not legally allowed to fly. Really? That just makes you a big old puss, doesn't it, Sam? That just makes you a big old pussy ass. That makes you a cook. That's what that makes you. You've been cuckold. Is that what that is? Is that what that is? Same thing with Thomas. Ginny goes and gets buses for all these people, and she just sits there. And then she's appointed to the Library of Congress. What the fuck is happening? What the hell is going on here, people? Much to the merit of Sir Elton John, no fucking way. No fucking way. Thank you, Sir Elton John. Yeah. And I'll say it again, I've done a short. If you're concerned about the border, and you say, I'm voting for Trump because I want something done about this border, I got a few things about that too. Number one, Trump was president for 4 years. Did he do anything about the border? If he had, it would have been there when Biden took office. But he didn't. Number two, several months ago, Republicans with Democrats, non-MAGA Republicans and Democrats came up with a solid border bill, one of the strongest border bills ever presented, even by Republicans. It was better than those. And Democrats conceded on some things. And guess why it was never even brought to the floor? Yep, Trump. Trump told the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, to kill that bill. They didn't even read it. They didn't even read it. MAGA never read that bill. They just rejected it. Why? Why? Because Trump told MAGA Mike not to have the Republicans even look at it or touch it, because the border is his main thing to run on this year for election. That's really all he's got. And he ordered them not to do that. Mike admitted, Donald Trump said, if anybody complains to you, you tell them, blame Trump. He told me to do it. Trump and MAGA Mike stood there in front of the microphones and cameras and said, Trump is to blame. And he said to blame him. Even Moscow Marge said, Trump said this. They didn't even read it. They just follow like a bunch of parrot sheep shark. One stupid, fat, orange guy who can't win anything unless he cheats. Okay? And that's a fact. And that goes to school and any other shit that I've ever read about him. The only way he gets anything is when he cheats. Either by not paying people, contractors, cheating on his wife. I mean, the only way he gets anything his entire life is to cheat one way or another, either before or after. He cheats at golf, for God's sake. It's on camera, him cheating at golf. If a guy cheats at golf on camera and then publicly says what a great golfer he is, how do you equate that to, that's my guy to run this country? He bankrupted casinos. How do you bankrupt a casino? And other businesses of his. Trump Steak, Trump's Water, Trump University. That was a lawsuit. How is that your guy? Yeah, I don't I don't I don't see that. If somebody can just explain to me, please, how, after all I've said just here, what do you think is so wonderful about Trump? Other than the fact that he lets you be racist, lets you be bigoted, lets you tell people to fuck off, lets you put up guillotines to literally kill, hang to death the vice president. When every single person that worked in his administration today says they will not ever vote for him, have anything to do with him. How does that tell you he's the winning guy? He's the guy to do everything he fucking spews out of his mouth. They're all lies. They're all lies. We see Bannon is in prison today. I thought he said that would never happen. Bannon's not going to prison. Yeah, well, tell the corrections officers that who brought him breakfast this morning. Pretty sure he's in prison. Donald can be too. Have some critical thinking skills. Have the balls. And it don't matter if you're female. You can have the balls. And stand up to that pathetic little squeeze. What a little... I don't know what a squeege is, but whatever it is, it's pathetic and it's him. I don't know, guys. I'll tell you, I'm not abandoning Biden, and I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, we gotta replace him right now. The two people that I would even consider voting for, other than Biden, and the thing is, if we replace Biden, it's not the Democrat citizens that are gonna. The primaries are done. So it'll only be the Democrats in Congress that will decide who they're gonna put in there. I'm not gonna play with that. It's not like I don't trust them, but I gotta tell you, the only two I would vote for would be Bernie Sanders or Gavin Newsom. Okay, if they don't put either one of those guys in, Katie Porter. Yeah. I would vote for Katie Porter. Jamie Raskin, I'd vote for him. Okay? But who's to say they'll pick those people? But those are, okay, there's not two, there's four. Jamie Raskin, Gavin Newsom, Bernie Sanders, or Katie Porter. One of those I would absolutely vote for president. Yeah. I would vote for that. But you know what? Just because somebody you know has a bad night, you just don't abandon them as a friend, right? You give them a little time, get their shit together. You weren't feeling so good that day. I get it. We all have bad days, bad nights. You're not feeling well. You're just coming back from having a virus or a cold, or your allergies are bothering you, and your head's all stuffed up and you just are having a bad day. You just stop associating with that person because of one bad day? Methinks not. Okay? That's not how I play. And I don't think at this late game that's a good idea either. Biden's already proven. I mean, he went out that Friday night and he totally slayed a speech. And you have to know, he was coming off of a cold. He had done several talks before that day, and the very next day he was back out. I'm very very in the camp of thinking maybe he wasn't feeling so good. Maybe he was sneezing or doing a lot of coughing or something. I thought to take an antihistamine, maybe try to get rid of some of those symptoms for a few hours so I can function and speak without sneezing or coughing or my nose dripping or, you know. Think about when you're having a bad cold or just getting over a virus, how you're feeling. Y'all want to be doing a debate then? Come on, you don't even want to be in front of cameras and a microphone. Give the guy a break, you know? Yeah, you saw my other videos. He looked completely like he was freaking lost. He had no clue. He was like, but that's kind of how you feel. Think about it. When you've taken an antihistamine, allergy tablets, you take them all the time, okay? Some of them, especially if you don't take them all the time, some of them can make you feel a little kind of like everything's slow-mo. Think about that, okay? He could have very well been dealing with something like that, and he was just trying to, but you can't outthink that. It's something that's affecting your body. It's something that was ingested. You can't just not feel that. Okay, I'm not going to feel that. Give the guy a break, you know? I mean, at least he didn't stand up there and every time he opened his mouth spewed a dozen lies. You know? And let me tell you something else. The polling, yeah, he dropped some, Biden, because of that. But not now. Not now. And a lot of the independents, the swing people, a lot of them have weighed in and said, I know that's not the typical Biden. And the arrogance in Donald's behavior, besides the lying. I mean, there was times he was like, yeah, very, that face. That is, I am so proud of myself and I'm a moron. You know the face I'm talking about. That's the face he had. And I had a few things that pulled back eyes. So self-satisfied, you know? Oh, I am watching Joe just fall apart. That's... Is that the kind of person you really want running this country? Telling the women what they can and can't do? If you think that's the bliss, then you're bigoted, you're anti-female, and you're an ass. If you think that what Donald will do with another 4 years, which will turn into for the rest of his life, if you think what he's doing is, yeah, we need to make those women stop, you know, killing and get rid of our this or doing that, or then you are not pro-female. It's that simple. When you can say, yeah, I want the government to tell women what they should and shouldn't do with their vagina and their uterus, that's a bigot. How about if the government tells you what to do with your penis and your testicles? That cool too? Yeah? We're good on that? Because that's what you're saying. If it's okay for the government to tell me and every other woman what to do with their vagina and their ovaries and their uterus, then I think they have every damn right to tell you what to do with your penis and your testicles and your sperm. So fair is fair. It goes both ways, guys. Much like a bisexual. There you go. So if the government could tell women what to do with their bodies, then the government should tell men what to do with their bodies. And I think reversible vasectomy should be done. How's that? I think every man, when they turn 16, is required to go through a mandatory sexual harassment class, and upon having a puberty hit, how about we start telling them that you need to have a reversible vasectomy done until you're married, and then your wife signs something confirming that she's married you, and then you can have it unreversed, and then you can have it reversed, not unreversed. Then you can have it reversed. How's that? I like that. That sounds good. That's what you're saying for women. So if that's not good for you, you can understand why you deciding what I can do with my sexual organs is not acceptable. If it's not acceptable for me to tell you what to do with your penis and testicles and sperm, then it's not right for you to tell me what to do with my eggs, uterus, or vagina. That's none of your business. End of story. You guys, it's the 2nd of July, so I'll probably talk to you before then. But please be safe this holidays. Please. And hydrate. Heat wave here is done, but it's in other places. And if it's not, you still need to hydrate. Even in the winter. Yeah. Because that's how bodies work. We just had a little roller coaster. We laughed, we cried, we got angry, we got sarcastic. My, what a wide range of emotions today. I think in some circles that might be a little psychotic. No, I'm just joking. Anyway, I'm sure I'll have more to say. There's a lot of things that are coming up that are just that MAGA and left and anti-left are being spewed all over. It's hot and heavy right now. So that is why I'm hopping on here all the time to counter those bullshit lies. That's what I'm here for. That is why I make the graphics. That is why I'm doing this. Because I don't have money to contribute. I don't have a car to be able to do things to help. But I have a mouth. I absolutely have a mouth. And I have a rather loud one at that. I know. You don't need to tell me. I know. It's loud. And it's persistent. I know. But sometimes that comes in handy. Like when I worked in the prisons. Like a kindergarten class coming in after lunch and recess. And you can't get their attention. A little, what? really loud. And they all like, the kids in the classroom next door freeze. Everything gets quiet. True story. So there might not be a lot I can do as far as, helping, because I don't have finances and I don't have vehicle, but I have a mouth and I have that little camera, and I have a lot of things to say and a lot of things to keep reminding you guys of. Because as you celebrate this 4th of July, seriously consider this. If we allow Trump to get back into power, in all honesty, this might be the last 4th of July that we celebrate freedoms. It's freedom from England's rule, but being under a dictator Trump, yeah, that's not freedoms. And it's even difficult for me to celebrate this year knowing that women don't have freedoms in a lot of this country. But I just keep remembering the freedom right now that 4th of July is the freedom as a country from other countries. And that's all I keep remembering right now. The 4th of July is about our country not being under the rule of another country. That we are our own country. Not about what's within us. Whether our country is free within itself or not. That is the big issue. And I'm not saying it's a little issue. But right now, if I want to enjoy the 4th of July at all, I have to keep remembering that it's about our freedoms as a country not being tied to another country, like being a sub-country of them. We are our own. That is what it's about. Okay? And not about the freedoms within our countries, you know, with our fellow countrymen. So, it's not about the freedoms we have in the country. It's the freedoms to be our own country that we celebrate. And that still is true even in 2024. So, don't feel guilt about having so many of our freedoms stripped from us during Trump's 4 years. And the aftermath with the asshats he's got in important positions. So just remember, it's freedom to be our own country that we're celebrating. And then you can do it with joy. Because that is the truth. So anyway, before I spend all damn day like a live stream, which I've never done, and I probably would be all alone. But anyway, I'm not that interesting unless I rant about stuff. Y'all don't want me to rant about dolphins or cats or deer, do you? I know about those guys. Sharks. Anyway, have a good holiday. Have a good week. And just really, really think. We have several months still. Just really think about who to seriously vote for. I'm trying not to use any overused words that, you know, you hear all over, because they lose their impact, you know, when you hear the same thing over and over. It's like, yes, it's brainwashed, it's drilled into my head, and I don't want to, you know, do that to you guys, because I know what it's like sitting here going, I just want you to really consider. Don't stop thinking about a person. You're voting until Trump came along was always voting your party's ideas. But that's not the Republican Party. It's like MAGA is its own party. And maybe we need to have 4 parties. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and MAGA. Because it's not fair to the to the Republicans who are still Republicans. They didn't change. It's the MAGA that are Republicans that changed. Republicans, the old type Republicans, they haven't changed, and they're stuck in Congress and Senate in a very unhospitable position, because the Republican Party is made up of crazy Republicans. And the Republicans that have resisted joining the cult of Trump, the cult of MAGA, they really don't have a lot of voice right now, because there's more MAGA Republicans than Republicans, it seems. Or they're just louder or more obnoxious. They're like nosy, busybody Karens, just shoving and pushing their way. I mean, you saw how Trump, when he was president, at dignitary events, he just muscled his way right through. He literally did that. We saw it on camera more than once. He would just like literally shoulder or get a foot around somebody and then just kind of right in front of them. You just push them right away. You know, people say, well, that's strong, that's decisive, you know. No, that's rude, obnoxious, and crass. That's narcissistic is what that is. How are you supposed to teach children to wait their turn when they got a guy that was in the White House that didn't wait his turn at all? He thought, I am the president of the USA, so I should be in front of everybody. Whoa! Fuck no. Thank you, Sir Elton John. No fucking way. God, I love Elton. Really wanted to see one of his concerts. Really, really wanted to see one of his concerts in this life. But he did give me No Fucking Way. Oh, thank you for that, Elton. So just remember all of this. If you're not a diehard Trumper, and if you're not a Democrat, if you're not absolutely positive, just keep those things in mind. Keep the border in mind. It was Trump who killed this. And he had 4 years. He keeps saying, oh, Joe hasn't done anything about the border. He had, don't forget, he had 4 years before Joe to do something about the border. And he didn't do anything. The wall obviously didn't work because he left, and it's not like Biden tore the wall down. But that was supposed to be it. That was supposed to work, Trump. What happened to that, Donnie? What happened to the wall? A, he reinforced a few hundred miles of it, but he never finished the wall. Bannon and a few others tried to do it on their own and just pilfered everything they got, basically. They scammed everyone. So whatever people donated for that, he scammed you too. So remember, Trump had a turn, and he had already one chance. And if he built the wall? Well, if the wall was such a great deterrent, it was such a genius idea, why didn't you finish it? You had 4 years. And why didn't it ever work? didn't work for the time you were in. It hasn't worked these 4 years. I think at this point, people take school class trips to the wall so kids can scale it and come back down and get pictures. I mean, really. That's about what it's good for. So, training military on how to scale mid-size obstacles. I mean, honestly, guys. So, think about that. Then, if you're considering Trump, remember, he told them, Democrats had, and actual Republicans, not MAGA Republicans, came to an excellent border bill. They didn't even read it. MAGA never read it. They just rejected it because Trump. And explain to me how somebody who isn't even in politics has the ear and has all his little minions do the bidding. How is that even legitimately legal? Congress should not be having meetings and taking official, taking political meetings with somebody who's not even in the government right now. You're going there as a congressperson to talk to him, to take his word back to your clan and tell them what the Orange Moses said. How is that even acceptable? That they're taking marching orders from somebody who's not even involved in politics. I mean, Trump goes off and takes meetings with Xi Jinping and stuff like this as if he's a government official. He's fucking nobody right now. He's nobody but a felon. That's what Trump is. This. -0. Trump is nothing but a felon. A convict. Well, he's not even that yet. But he is a felon. 34-time felon. How is that, somebody like that, how is anybody allowed to tell Congress what to do? What's been happening since 2016 is much like when you boil lobsters or crabs. Okay? They knew we wouldn't accept you boiling the water first and then having all of this stuff. And then when Trump got it, just throwing it in. Trump didn't even think he was going to win the first time. He did it as a fucking lark. And he doesn't like to say something and then not do it because it makes him look bad. No, it makes it think like, well, I thought twice and maybe not. You know, but that's the way Trump is. And that's why he went through. He wanted, so narcissistic, he wanted to see if he could win the biggest contest in the world. And then when he won, he was so surprised he won. He was surprised. He was not ready to win. He really wasn't. He was doing it on a lark because his narcissistic self had to win the big... But he didn't think about what happens after he won. He just thought of all the praise and being lauded and, you know, gifted things. And everybody's, wants to fall all over themselves because he's the president of the strongest country in the planet, you know. That was the only reason he ran to start with. He didn't run because he gives a damn about any of us. His wife wore a shirt while she's going to see the caged children that says, "I really don't care, do you?" No, that was not happenstance and that was not coincidence. Okay? The dude never wanted to be running a president. He just wanted all the benefits. He doesn't want to do the job. And now the easiest way to not really do the job of learning how to negotiate, how to do this, is just to be a dictator. The ultimate narcissistic position. The ultimate position for a narcissist is president of a country. Or leader of a country. That's why he wants it. Now he wants it because he wants to stay out of prison, which is what the Supreme Court kind of handed to him a little bit. So, just take that into your knowledge banks and think about that. He doesn't want to do the job. He just wants the benefits. That's all. And the reason he's fighting so hard this time is because he's in legal trouble. We need to have the Democrats running the House and the Senate. Because MAGA needs to be put out to pasture. We either need to put them out to pasture or let them be a fourth party. Let them be their own party. So the real Republicans, the ones they call rhinos, they're not rhinos. They are the real Republicans. MAGA are the rhinos. They're not Republican. They're MAGA. There's a difference. So with that thought, and this, God, how long has this been? An hour? Anyway, peace out. And I wanted to leave you on a not possessed, crazed mode. So, until we talk again, please, my mouth is all dry because I took an antihistamine. And the only reason that antihistamines don't affect me, making me all loopy, is A, I've been taking antihistamines, so I'm covered 24 hours. And that's been like that for about 6 years. So, number one, my body is used to it. Number two, I am so ADHD, and I'm pretty sure Joe isn't. So, that is why some of us on antihistamines look like we just had a couple espressos. And some of us on antihistamines, it does make me tired. But it doesn't really make me loopy. But they used to, when I wasn't having to take them all the time. I would I don't want to take an allergy because it's going to make me all weird. Now, it just blends in with my normal weirdness. So with that laugh, here, my little pride crown. It's a bracelet. I'm an idiot. Actually, I'm just an ally. I'm not actually part of, firsthand. I'm just a boring old heterosexual. But all this is because A, I like color and rainbows. Second, I am an ally. And my oldest is in the community. So, but even before they figured that out, several years ago, I was always an ally. Always an ally. And I've painted tiles that I've put on my railing by my front door that says safe space and points to me, to my apartment. And I've always been that way. So, nice old lady walking by. She's actually a white lady, which is unusual. I'm not race oriented, but I mean, it's obvious that at least in my complex is huge, but at least in the buildings around in my area, courtyard, it's predominantly Indian, which is very interesting culture. I watch a lot of the genre of the reaction videos of the India and Pakistani guys for like foods and movies and things, music and such. They're some of them are so amazing. They're so funny, but smart and but yeah, we're predominantly seems to be Indian families here. I do see handful. I'll say a handful of white. I've seen black. I think I've seen an Asian. I'm not sure if they were an Asian like family. It was three people, so I'm not sure if they were like lived there or visited because it's way down there, or if they were visiting. I don't know. Race doesn't matter to me. It just does with when I talk about like here. I mean, if you're in a, and it's not like a negative thing. It's just there are certain characteristics of certain cultures, certain races, certain you know, it's not stereotyping, it's just, you know, fact. But saying things like all Asian people smell or all that's a stereotype bullshit because people steal, people smell, people are assholes, people are rude, you know, in all cultures and races, you know. It I just shake my head like, God, you're such a sheep. When people say ignorant, racist things or bigoted things, it's just, ugh. But the only reason I specify is because it does matter, because certain people, okay, so like India, I've noticed, and I'm not sure if it's just the way this group of friends, family friends, have done it because we're neighbors, like community neighbor friends, or if that's like a culture thing. I'm not sure, and I don't want to go up and ask. Hey, but maybe one of these days I will. Now they're getting more used to me being there, more comfortable talking to me. I have noticed, like in the evenings, especially in the summertime when there's no school the next day, in the evenings, since I'm the main playground in the complex, they have like little ones that just have maybe a seesaw or this or a little thing to ride on, you know. But the big one is here, across from my apartment. And my apartment is the only one that every single window in my apartment faces, except the one on the end here. Every window faces that playground. Okay, I am the only apartment that every single window is a girl. That was Universe's very, very funny thing that I get the apartment, the only apartment across from the playground that's in your face you can't even go to the bathroom to get away from the playground. Right after I lose one of my boys. You know, I had twin sons. At first I thought it was a cruel joke. At first I did. I was like, Universe, that's a fucking cruel joke. The one apartment. And that's the one I get. But now, and I'm crying because now it's actually becoming a blessing to help soothe that grief. And I've done posts, not videos, about that in helping parents heal. And maybe I'll tell about it later tonight or something, but yeah, I don't want to cry right now. But that's the only reason why I mention races and cultures. But I've noticed that when they all conglomerate, sometimes it's like a swarm, seriously. The parents use it as a, I don't want to say gossip, it's that hour, but like, sometimes they're out there for hours, but they use it as a, you know, a community and neighbor, you know, gab session, you know, just whatever. They all talk. But I've noticed that some nights it's just all the moms. And a lot of times what they do is they don't, there's a fence around. I'll show it to you when I do the video today about the outside. They either, the parents usually are on the outside of the chain link fence, so there's more room for the kids, you know. And, or they're sitting on the steps, the apartment steps. They sit on ours too. One of the kids is from the family, not upstairs, but across from me. There's 4 of us that each share a porch. So it's like downstairs, upstairs, downstairs, upstairs, and then the next 4. Yeah, that's how it's set up. And they're every night they're sitting out there, which is fine unless I have to go, and then they just get up, you know, no problem with them. But it's either all the moms watching the kids and talking, or some nights it's just the dads, and I'm assuming the moms and wives are either talking themselves. They segregate between male and female for like gossipy, you know, not gossip, I hate to use that word, but for like interaction type of stuff, just when you're visiting, you know. And then some nights it's just the guys, but I've noticed not as often. It's not like it's the women, the men, that it's not, because there's times that every 3-4 nights in a row it's just the moms out there, and then there's just the dads out there, and that was like that for a long time. But then I've noticed last year there are the very occasional times that the moms, men and the women, or the moms and the dads are both out there. And in those things, they don't separate just the men talking. They do, you know, intersperse. So I'm trying to figure out, is that a cultural thing? Is that just something they've done here? Does it have to do with maybe an activity that the women or the men do on certain nights? I don't know. But yes, I do have that much time. Since I'm on disability for this messed up foot and this wrist that won't bend more than that. Yeah, that wasn't even a bend. So I'm here most 90% of the time. It's just me and the cats. But yeah, and I haven't researched culture stuff like that in the Indian, Pakistan kind of, because I don't want to, I want to observe first and then confirm or readjust my thoughts, rather than read what they generally do and then observe, because then you're kind of a little tainted on how that must be the way they, you know. So I think it's probably about time now. It's about 2.5 years or more that I've been here. So, but of course the first year I don't count, because the first year I don't remember the first year, to be quite honest with you. I don't remember much of it, because that was when my son died, and that first year I really don't remember much. I got up, I took care of the cats, made sure they were okay, and that was it. That was all I had to do. The rest of it, taking care of me. That's the sad fact when you lose a kid. That's what happens. Sometimes you lose a fucking year of your life. It's kind of like you feel guilty for still living when you've already lived 6 decades. Your kid didn't even get to live 2 decades. You know? So yeah. that does that to a parent. At least parent that really fiercely loves their kids. If you don't love your kids that much, then I can understand not being devastated. But when you love your kids more than you love yourself or your life, it's hard to keep living. And that first year, I could stop the video right now, and I'm not going to, because I'm about realness. And yeah, I can smell. He was such a gorgeous guy, and his heart was so gorgeous. He's a beautiful soul, my son. He's glorious. And his Earth twin, God, I love him. With Asperger, it's hard for him. He really needed his twin. So hold your kids close. Give them a hug for me. And don't miss those moments. Take that extra 5 seconds and give them another hug if they want it. Get them the damn glass of water. I pray you guys, you parents, don't have a day that you learn you're never going to be able to do that again. Because you beat yourself up for everything. I should have taken that extra 10 minutes. I should have let him do that. Trust me, you do it. You know you shouldn't. You know it won't help. But we do it anyway. So, if you have children, I don't give a damn how old they are. Stop what you're doing. And tell them you love them. Tell them you're very serious. You want them to remember that you love them. That you love them very much. And if they try to squirm out of that hug, whisper, "I'm sorry, but I need this." And just give a hug. Let them go. Don't torment them. But take those extra seconds, because I pray not. But anyone can realize suddenly that was the last time they had a chance to do something. And not just with your children, with everybody. Remember that. Once a month, at least once a month, I just put out a "I love you" to my sister, brother-in-law, niece, nephew, kids, whatever. I just put out a, "I love you and I appreciate you in my life" kind of text. Because trust me, things like that matter. Even if you are positive that they know you love them, say it anyway. Say it anyway. If you have a voice, use it for love. And use it for the ones that matter to you. tell them. Don't just assume your actions, that they know it. And even if they don't really have the concept of emotions, like my Asperger's boy, they know what those emotions are meant to show or say. He knows when somebody says, I love you, that they mean they'll do anything for you. They care about you and if you're happy or not. Even if he might not get that feeling in the same way, just think Spock. You know, Spock or Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. And that's what a lot of Asperger's people are like. Very logical. You know, death, even for somebody very close to them that they like in their life, to them, it's like, well, everything, everyone, every living thing dies at some point. And it sucks. It happens, but it hasn't stopped my life. So I'm just gonna keep living because that's how they see it, which is very logical. I mean, yeah, that makes total sense, except when you bring in the emotional part. That's the feeling part. But all of us have that logic. It's just not quite connected as much to the emotion of it. So they might come off as heartless or cold, but that doesn't mean they are. It just means it kind of looks that way, you know? So keep that in mind when you're interacting with other people or observing others. Maybe they just don't understand what that feels like because they've never had that feeling. And instead of being like, oh, that's weird, they're weird for that not being feelings. Wouldn't it be nice sometimes, though, not to have things being felt so deeply? Not to get hurt by somebody's comments? Not to lose a year of your life because somebody you desperately love ran ahead? You know? Yeah. That can come in handy at times. You know? People heckling you or something like that doesn't faze you because it doesn't hurt your feelings. You know? So it's like, oh, I guess they don't like that joke. It wasn't, they don't take it personally, I think is what a lot of it is. They don't take things personally. You know? And I gotta tell you, to be honest, sometimes that would come in handy, you know? It would absolutely come in handy. So it's not like one is better than the other. It's not. It's just different. And when you have a decade to observe others, it's not like I'm distracted by a spouse, I'm just or a partner, or I'm always being distracted by my children. My children haven't been here, you know. They've been with their dad since they were 7, so the twins, you know. My oldest is on her own, so it's kind of like I've had a long time to observe and think and connect or make connections. That's the only reason. And I research a lot. That's why I have trivia. But I've always read even before the internet. Yeah, books. Books, they're an actual thing. We used to actually read them. We didn't watch, them on a screen and read it type of thing. um, we didn't have podcasts, or somebody read it to you. When I was growing up, we had the reading books, you know, they've had that for a long time, audible stuff for blind people, but we didn't have podcasts and things like that. You had AM radio talk shows. Um, but yeah, we had books. Books were where you got your information from. Knowledge was from books. Okay, that's the only place. I think every family with kids had a dictionary, and a set of encyclopedias. I mean, everybody had that. I mean, come on. That's how we did our book reports. That's how you did. You didn't have, if you don't want to use a cliff note for like a report on a play or something like that. And cliff notes for other things, books and such. Um, but that's about all we had for research. We couldn't go like online and instantly find whatever we needed, everything, every information. Here, I mean, it's endless what people can do. And yes, I don't want to leave you crying, so that's why I'm talking about something else. But anyway, it's a beautiful day. I am going to get something to eat because I haven't eaten yet. And I am going to do that video outside because it is actually a very beautiful day outside. So, have a great day. Be kind to people. Be patient with people. Even if it's an impatient day for you, even more so, because you know that other people also are having a bad day. So sometimes it is because somebody's being a Karen or an asshole. But sometimes it's just a person having a bad day and a meltdown and losing it. And you have no idea what's going on in their personal life. So yeah, they might do this all the time. And a lot of times you can tell after the first initial if they're just a self-entitled asshole or if they're just having a really bad day. So just, even if you're nice and it's a Karen moment, you know what? Even if it doesn't make an impact on them, it keeps you at a calmer pace. No need for those 30 seconds of irritation while some Karen's yelling at you. Just diffuse her and go on. Say, have a beautiful day. I hope you enjoy your day. I mean, you don't have to be sarcastic. A Karen will take it sarcastically either way. So you don't need to be. Be an anti-Karen and an anti-Kevin. So enjoy yourself. Have a good day. Hydrate. And I am going to see if I can get myself out of this weird ass mood. I've got wind chimes I have to make. Peace out.